Welcome to Step Zero. I'm your host, Caitlin Henry. Today I'm sitting down with Dustin Ybarra, a comedian, actor, and writer known for his energetic performances and sharp, self aware humor. He currently plays a stoner, Chef Gabe, on the hit CBS series Ghosts and has appeared in numerous television shows and films, including The Goldbergs, Californication, We Bought a Zoo, and Hop, amongst many, many others. Dustin's unique comedic voice has made him a standout on stage and screen alike. Originally from Texas, Dustin got his start performing in small clubs before quickly gaining attention as a finalist in both the Funniest Comic in Texas and Funniest Dallas Comic competitions. His sharp storytelling and infectious energy led to a nationwide touring career, performing at top comedy clubs and theaters across the country. That success eventually landed him an appearance on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, where he showcased his signature blend of charm and chaos. In addition to stand up, Ibarra has built a devoted online following through his creative ventures, including his viral treasure hunting series, Dustin Digs, one of my favorites, which blends humor, adventure, and authenticity. And he continues to develop new projects across television. Whenever you do that. He continues to develop new projects across television, film, and digital media, always bringing his signature mix of heart, mischief, and laughs to everything he does. Dustin, welcome to the show today.
Hello, Caitlin.
I just love that intro. And I personally have the joy of knowing Dustin. And
Yes.
I am so excited for you to be here and just to share with us really your story. I'd love to start out
I
with,
have the joy of knowing you, we met through this thing, which is cool.
no, and that's the thing about sobriety. People think their life is over, and then all of a sudden you meet people that are some of the most successful people I've ever met in my life. And it's like, holy shit, a whole new world opens up if you just choose to remove alcohol. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool. And I can't wait to hear more of your stories around that. But today, I really want to talk about this rock bottom place of, you know, we say in the rooms, what did your story look like before? What did your drinking look like before? And then really bring us into the fold of what was your rock bottom and how did you get sober? So, wherever you'd like to start today, but what did it look like for you and how did you know when you had a problem?
It was great. My life was awesome. No, it never starts out like that. Like, no one ever gets into recovery because your life because you're killing it, you know?
Yeah,
I've never met anyone in a 12-step room that is, like, there because they just hit the lottery in life? It's always,
totally.
like, the most desperate situation. And by the way, I can see myself right now and, like, I just woke up. I think I might have strep or something. So, I do look more sober than this most of the time. I just
Yeah, he
happen to
already
look.
shows up and we're like, Did he relapse? No.
Yeah, exactly. I look very hungover. I'm seeing myself on camera, but,
And if anybody wants to see him, this is on video on YouTube. For those of you on Spotify and Apple, you can head over to YouTube if you want. But
yeah.
Dustin, oh, you're just, yeah. And this is,
Yeah.
I just love this character that you kind of show up in reoccurring on some of the shows and all that. I loved Easter Sunday, was it? Where you're like
Yeah,
standing
yeah.
outside the trash can and like, he's got this amazing hair, you guys. So if you can't see him right now, go Google him.
And I gotta say, it's weird because sometimes, people get sober, and I definitely look way better than I did before, but I still definitely have a stoner-esque vibe about me and
I
everything,
love
and
it though. It's such a good character. And like he said, he is showing up with a little bit of a cold today. So just appreciate the occasional, cough or
yeah,
clearing of the throat. But we're just like lucky to have you here. So
yeah, well, I'm lucky to be here, but yeah, oh, my life when I was drinking was just, it wasn't always bad. I was one of those progressive alcoholic dudes, as they say that there's, like, this invisible line that you cross, and I think I crossed it, like, in my 20s, because I didn't start drinking till I was, I didn't start till I was 21,
wow.
and yeah, I was a very late bloomer because it's weird because sometimes at these recovery meetings, you hear a dude like, "Oh, yeah, I was doing acid when I was 8 years old, I was doing this," and I was like, "Oh, man, you were a bad kid," you know?
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah.
pretty good kid. I was a kid that was very, like, shy and, I would, I didn't have a lot of friends and stuff. I guess I was a nerdy, just awkward kid, and, I kind of found stand-up, and that really helped everything.
How old
But
are you when you found stand-up? Was it
I
before or
was,
after you were drinking?
I was 16, and, I went to this coffee shop that had, like, an open mic, and I would play a guitar on stage and just do a bunch of, parody songs. I remember I did this one, Amer that "Bye Bye Miss American Pie"?
Yeah.
I would do "Bye Bye My Bong and My Pipes," and it was about, like, it was that Don McLean song, but it was, like, 7 minutes long, and my version was 7 minutes long too, so it wasn't that it had its funny moments, but it just kept going way too long,
Wait, so
and
were
I
you
didn't even
using weed at that time?
No, that's what was
Okay,
crazy. I didn't even
interesting.
smoke, so I didn't even I was just trying to be funny. I didn't even smoke weed or anything,
Okay,
you
so
know?
you rarely hear this with comedians. Usually, I had Kristen on the show, for those of you that don't know, like, I think it was last week or the week before. She's also a fellow of ours, both of us. It's always like comedy and drinking usually go hand in hand. So to hear that you found this world at 16, but you still didn't start drinking till 21, I'm fascinated.
Well, yeah, it was, first off, I wasn't old enough to drink, and I just never, I come from a very alcoholic family, for me, it was a generational thing, and I just saw how alcohol in my family would always create chaos and havoc, and I was just like, "I'm not gonna do that. That's not gonna be part of my story." And then you forget things, you go to went to New York, and I was kinda like back in Texas, I was a big fish in a small pond. I went to New York, and I just started getting nervous having to follow these great comedians, like, you gotta go after, like, Dave Attell or, like, Louis CK, you gotta, like, follow these dudes, and, I remember one night, a guy was there and just offered me a beer, and everyone was drinking, I was like, "Okay," and as soon as I took the beer, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome," like, all my fears just went away, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll just use this as a tool," And, yeah, it didn't work out like that.
Yes, okay, so how old were you when you took this beer at this comedy club and realized there was something magical about it?
I was 21, and,
You
I had
were.
just got to New York. I had already been doing stand-up for, like, 4 or 5 years, so I came in a little hot. I was doing really well. I got, passed at a lot of comedy clubs there, so they would work me, and, I got an agent, got a manager, and it was just one of those, it was a really cool moment in life because I had never been to New York. I'd never really been out of Texas except twice.
Mhm.
And, everything was is kinda like that how I arrived moment, like, "Oh, yeah, everything is awesome here." And when I read things, you hear your stories in the room, and I definitely related to, like, that whole, Bill story of, like, that feeling of, like, "Yes, I've arrived, people are taking me in, I'm this cool, funny guy." And, alcohol was a big part of that, and it just kinda, like, slowly it progressed. Definitely I don't think I started out like an alcoholic, like, I didn't wake up the next morning like, "Oh, I gotta get a beer, I gotta do" just kinda snuck up on me, in my 20s, and, then it got to a point where it was, I had to drink to perform.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and, yeah,
How
I
long
would
would you say that took? Because this is such a story, not just for people on TV or in comedy or, have some bigger job in the industry. This is really a story of so many people go off to college and they start drinking and it looks normal, quote unquote,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, like you said, it sneaks up on you. How much time did that take for it to sneak up?
I would say it took about, like, maybe, like, 5 years, maybe less, because you would have these moments that everyone would have, that you hear stories about, like, "Oh, yeah, you got crazy last night." And it's like, "Oh, wow, that was wild."
Yeah, that was
But
so
then
fun. Let's talk about like what did we do and who blacked out parts of it that someone else can remember. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, ha, 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 it's very fun and cute, and then, the older you get, you start getting consequences. You start for me, my consequences were I would, like, mess up on stage, I would black out, and then I remember then they would, call my manager or agent and be like, "Hey, this happened last night, this guy blacked out, blah, blah, blah." I'd be like, "Oh, man, that never happened," and I was always given, like, a pass kinda, 'cause I was so not like that. I was always like, um, I I didn't, I didn't drink a lot, so when these things happen, it was very not a thing that happened, repeatedly, so it was like, "Oh, that was weird." But then the more you do it, those, like, bad moments get closer and closer almost, those moments where you do screw up, where you do have a bad set, where you get crazy. And then you start getting, like, big consequences, and, when I started getting big consequences over and over, that's where I was told by someone that, "You might be an alcoholic." And,
Wow, okay,
yeah,
so
I went
someone came to you and said, "You gotta address this."
yeah, they came to me and they were like, "Yeah, you might be an alcoholic. Check out this meeting."
Can I ask, how did that feel when they came up to you saying that, knowing your history with alcoholism in your family? What did that feel like when they asked or when
It
they told you? They didn't ask.
it sucks, but it also it gave me a I don't know, I kinda reacted to it like I was a very depressed guy, like, I would, and that gave me fuel for that depression of like, "Yeah, you came from an alcoholic family and you had this with your mom or whatever, and yeah, look at how bad your life is, and now you're an alcoholic." And I kind of thrived off that, just depressiveness and that, "Oh, woe is me, my life is so sad" type of thing. And, I was like, it wasn't fun, but I still wasn't convinced yet that I needed to stop drinking. I was like, "Okay, I'll go to this recovery thing to get you off my back, but I'm gonna do it my way. I'm not gonna stop smoking weed. I was just like, "Okay, I'm doing it my way." And life had to beat me down some more, which sucked, It's,
Were you able to abstain from drinking and just smoke pot for a while? What did that look like?
yeah, I remember the longest I got was, like, I think I went 22 days or something without drinking, but smoking weed, but it would always pop back up, and then it was, like, the same thing over and over again, and at this point, it's really I'm about 10 years in to drinking, and it's really bad now where it's like it's just it's starting to affect relationships, and starting to affect my reputation, and I think I'm really lucky that I started comedy young and that a lot of people knew me before I started drinking and before I was, like, an alcoholic, if you will. Because they gave me a lot of grace. They were like, "What's going on with this guy? This isn't the Dustin that we know." And I think that I don't know, they gave me grace and they were just like, "Yo, what's wrong? You gotta do something. I don't know if you should keep drinking." And the pandemic came around and I just really, that's when it was like I could be in my apartment and just drink, and by this point, I was, like, doing other extracurricular things too, a lot of drugs, and, I just kinda, like I say this joke about how it's like I had to pretend like the quarantine affected me, like, everyone was like, "I can't believe I'm drinking at 10 AM," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know, this is crazy, right? This never
Mhm.
happens." And that was a little too that was very close to home for me because I was that guy that was drinking at 10 AM, and I had done that before, this was the whole quarantine was just an excuse where I could, "Oh, the world is ending, let's get effed up?"
Right, it was just making it easier for somebody like you. How old were you at that time?
This is I'm probably like 32, 30. I'm, like, just entering my 30s, and it was, yeah, it just that's when it really got bad. It really got bad before that, but that's where it really amped up, I think, with the drug use and everything. And,
Yeah.
it's weird because in recovery, you almost want that I say this sometimes, like, I wish my rock bottom woulda happened faster, I wish the drugs woulda maybe come along quicker just so I coulda gotten to my desperate end, and my rock bottom, but, yeah, I kinda let it play out. Because before this also, one thing about my life was I was maintaining uh, my work, and I was always able to for the most part, I was always able to do my job sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like, 'Cause in stand-up, I would have some weeks that were great, some weekends, but it would always be like an off night. I remember then I got this TV show, and keep in mind, my life is awesome at this point. Like, I was on TV, I came from nothing too, like, as in, like, I didn't have any help from industry. I wasn't like uh, a I had a single mom that wasn't, there during this time, and so I kinda did everything on my own, and my life was kicking ass. I was on TV, I had everything I wanted, but I just could not stop drinking, even though I knew at this point that it was like, this is bad, this is not gonna end well, I don't think. Um
I hear that time and time again that you think you are, you're getting all this success or you are successful and you're the only one who knows this internal struggle. And you can almost see, like you said, the rock bottom coming, but it's like, but I have everything I could ever want. So it can't be the drinking. The drinking
Yeah,
is my best
yeah.
friend.
It is weird because it's like, yeah, I'm on a TV show. I'm doing all right, you know?
Yeah, it's
But
not the
no,
drinking, it's not the drugs, it must be something else. I must be miserable for some other reason because I have all these things I want and I'm getting to use these substances.
yeah, and you see so many cases like that of just whatever job it be, a comic, accountant,
Yeah.
business person, like there's always those people that just somehow maintain things while their life is falling apart. And I could do that for a little bit, but then there came a point where I couldn't do that.
Yeah,
And I
tell us
remember
about your rock bottom.
oh god. Woah, I had, like, 5 of them, I think, like, in my life, and, I guess, I was just getting my last 3 gigs I got fired for. I was blacking out, making a fool of myself, being a real asshole, just not a great guy, which is totally that's what I hated because it's totally not like my character. So when people would tell me how I acted during a blackout, I'd be like, "No," like, I wouldn't believe them. I'd be like, "You're no, you can't. That's impossible. I would never." And then, yeah, you do, and then it almost like you get in this shame cycle. I learned this in rehab, by the way, this shame cycle of you do something, you feel bad about it, you feel bad, you feel bad, and then you want the feelings to go away, so then you drink again, then you do something else stupid, and then shame cycle, And I was, like, always in one of those towards the end. Got fired from my last, like, 3 or 4 comedy gigs in a row, and at this point, 'cause the pandemic was over, everyone came back out, clubs were opening up, but I wasn't ready to see the world, I was done. And now at this point, it's like, "You're gonna die." Like, people would tell me that, like, "Dude, you're gonna die, man." Um, and I kinda didn't mind that, to be honest. I was like, "Alright, well, I kinda wanna die." You get into that depression where you're like, "I want this. Maybe there will be some fentanyl in this, and, this will be the end, and that wouldn't be so bad," you know? And that just wasn't a great way to think. So, somehow, a miracle happened where because keep in mind, during this time, I'm trying to go to meetings and stuff, but I'm just not doing anything. Because now I know I'm an alcoholic, and I'm going to these meetings, but I drink before the meetings, I drink after the meetings. I'm doing lines before the meeting, I'm doing lines in the bathroom. Like, I can't stop. I freaking can't, the willpower is done, even though I wanted to so bad, I could not stop. So a miracle happened where I this guy at a meeting said, "Hey, I ran into this comedian who I think you guys know each other. He said you opened for him." And it was and I'll say him because he's he talks about this, we've talked about it. It was Jay Moore. I used to open for Jay back in the day, and I like Jay. And Jay had, I think, 3 years sober, maybe at this point, and he reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, dude, my life is falling apart. I'm an alcoholic. I don't know what to do. I can't stop drinking." He's like, "Okay, I want you to meet me at this place tomorrow?" So I'm like, "Okay." So before I go to this meeting, this 12-step meeting to meet him, uh, I drink, and I drank the night before. At this point, I'm drinking every single day, and I can't stop. Vodka in the morning, wake up. vodka, do a bump, all that, and, I get in there, and I'm sitting next to Jay, and something they do at recovery meetings is whenever it's someone's, anniversary from not drinking, they do a birthday, where the person they sing happy birthday to you," and they started singing happy birthday to this lady, and I stood up. I was like, "I'm not feeling so good," and I stood up, and I walked, and, I took, like, 3 steps, and I fell over, and I had a seizure. And, yeah, the lady walked over me to get her birthday cake, though. That was funny 'cause was like I was like, "Wow, this must be pretty important, this whole 1-year sobriety thing."
Well, and it's so, like, par for the course with alcohol. Okay, sure. Like, go ahead,
Yeah,
have
yeah,
a
there
seizure.
apparently, people will have seizures at meetings and stuff, and, like, there's just a lot of sometimes craziness happens, but yeah, so they take me in the room and, Jay picks me up, I fall over, I start seizing up again, and there's people around me, like, "He's not okay, you gotta call 911." They called 911, and I'm on the ground. I remember Jay, kisses me on the forehead, and he says, "This is gonna be the best day of your life." And, I just broke down, and it was 'cause, I went to the hospital that day, and God, the next day I went to rehab. He's driving me to rehab, and I ask him to pull over so I can get a drink, and he lets me. He's like, "Okay, this is your last drink ever." And I drink this it was like an IPA or something, and I drink it, and as soon as I drank it, I threw it up, and I'm just like, this is the end." Um, so he's driving me there, and he's like, he's a comic. He's like, "The only rehab I could get you into is a gay rehab." And I'm like, "Ah, dude, really?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You gotta you said you'd go to any lengths though, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And, we pull up and there's, like, dudes, like, weightlifting on the patio, and I'm like, "Oh, this is so gay, dude."
Shirtless, probably shirtless.
Yeah, definitely shirtless, yeah. And I'm like, "Alright." And then later he told me that was a joke. I wish he would've told me before I blew all those dudes, but nah, that's a joke. That's, like, we keep it light, you know? Um, but yeah, I went to the rehab, and I was so terrified and scared, and my life is over, and I just couldn't believe what I'd become, what my life had become. And when I'm in rehab, I finally have this separation. And you realize whenever you get into a place like that, like, whoa, I've drank every single day for the past who knows how many years. This is nuts, dude. And, while I was in there, I started the recovery program with the recovery book that we have, and, um, my life got better. It was a slow getting better. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. Um, I remember while I was in there though too, it was, I really wanted to get sober, I wanted this to be the end, because it was either at this point, it was either get sober or die. And I was just like, I don't wanna die. I don't think I wanna die anymore." And, yeah, I did what I needed to do in rehab, and I got out, and just kinda entered back into the world. Um, I took a lot of precautions in the beginning. I always had a sober person with me when I had to do a stand-up gig. Which I didn't have many because at this point, I was unreliable still. People were like, "Oh, Dustin Ybarra, yeah, he showed up here drunk the other night. He's yeah, we're not." A lot of people didn't give me shots in the beginning, and I don't blame them. I was banned from my home comedy club in Dallas because I was drunk. There was this club in, uh, Vegas that I remember the guy was like, "Yeah, I don't wanna work him. I've heard stories," and, that hurt, it's sad. I remember in the beginning of sobriety, there were these moments of joy and then, like, moments of sadness, like, real sadness, because you kinda look at your life and you're like, "Man, I really let this alcohol thing friggin' run the show," you know? And, but then, like, I would say things just slowly got better and better, and, I would do the 12 steps. I did the steps, and, that helped because I was able to go back to the people that, like, you, affected in your alcoholism and talk to them. You reach out to people. Some people answer, some people don't, but you're able to kinda, like, just be cool with yourself finally. I was finally okay, like, in my skin. Like, I was just like, "Oh, man, I'm not freaking out as much anymore." I would still freak out, it's still, like even till today, I'm coming up got, like, 3.5 years sober, and I feel good, but I'll still have moments where I'm like you'll see something or you'll hear a song, and it'll remind you like, "Oh god, I remember that. I got drunk, blah, blah, blah." But, all the places that I didn't work that wouldn't work me, they're working me again, you know? You just kinda like and I wasn't really focused on, "I wanna get these things back." I was focused on, "I wanna get sober, and I wanna do it right. I wanna do these 12 steps." And it's a joy because you get to help people, and that's one thing I do is I'll answer phones at the, central office thing, and, alcoholics will call, and you hear you'll hear people that, want help, and, you can give them help. You can point them in the right direction, like, "Hey, this worked for me," "It's gonna be okay." I love that because you see these people that come in just so desperate, and you look at it and you're like, "Man, that was me. I had absolutely no hope." And somehow, I don't I don't know, it just worked out, I know that. I know how. It's because I did the steps and I took direction, and,
Right. And they
yeah.
say it's like we give back what was freely given to us. And that's, you're not getting paid to sit at central office. That's really being of service, which is the 12th step in a 12-step recovery. And what I relate to so deeply is in steps 1 through 8, I was like still that same place you were of it wasn't always good, but it was getting better. And it wasn't until step 9, which is what you're talking about, getting to call those people, see those people in person, make those amends, that
Yeah.
really I felt the relief. And I was like, oh, okay, this was more to do with my shame and my feelings. It wasn't that life or people were happening to me. It was what can I correct? How can I see life is happening for me? But I have to clean up my side of the street.
Yeah. Yeah, you do, and it's like, I didn't wanna do that. I was freaking out. Like, you gotta just call everyone and be like, "Oh god, I'm so sorry," You don't do, "I'm so sorry," but you do it like a proper, like, "Hey, th this is what happened. How can I make this right?"
Like, "Hey,
There's
dude, you know why I'm calling because we might have not talked in a while, and I really need to apologize
Yeah.
for some of my behavior."
Oh my god, and some things that yeah, for me, that, like, terrified me because how you had the big ones? Like, "Alright, let me do
Yeah.
these small ones first. Let me go
Yeah.
see the guy at Jack in the Box that I yelled at," the employee. Let
Yeah.
me let me go to the liquor store and apologize for that, and then you got these big ones that are like, "Oh, shit. Oh god, here we go." And then you do them, and, they either wanna hear it or they don't wanna hear it, and, I was pretty lucky, like, most people wanted to hear it, and it was just like, "Yeah, it's cool." I'm thinking about this right now, Caitlin, and I'm just like, it's just like how bad things were to how, like, great they are now is just I can't believe it. Like 2 years in to my sobriety, I got The Tonight Show, which was crazy. It
I
was
remember.
something.
That was
Yeah,
awesome.
and it was
Yeah.
like I had gotten things before, like, while I was drinking, but this was the first thing that was like, "Oh, man." I'm getting The Tonight Show in sobriety, and I can't believe it. It's just like it felt just so like, "Oh, man, this whole God thing, this whatever, this universe, this is, like, working out, this getting sober," you know?
I
And
wanted
then
to ask about that. So
yeah,
your
yeah.
where was your spirituality at this time? Did you believe in a higher power or did you
Oh,
find it
yeah.
through working the steps?
Oh, I was a higher power dude, like, the whole time. And I always kinda believed in, like, a god, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, dear I was very into the higher power thing from, like, day 1, you know? It wasn't, like, a big struggle for me.
Do you feel like that assisted in your recovery in the rehab? Because you really talked about how, like, you knew you were done, and we call them Eskimos when Jay walked you in and, you got there how you got there, but then what did you really rely on in order for that time to stick?
Yeah, God and just knowing that, like, just how you're just desperate, you know what I'm saying? You'll do it's like one of those, like, I'll do anything for this to be over. I
Were
just
you
wanna
saying
stop.
that out loud or were you saying it in your head? I always talk about this internal thoughts to God versus the external, like crying out to God.
Oh my god, I definitely had those crying out to God, "Oh, God, help me, I don't wanna drink anymore, I just want this to" just that runny nose, crying pray.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes that is what it takes. And we don't even realize that's the shift. And I'll be 7 years in January. And that
Nice.
is sometimes what not sometimes, now it's like all the time, but only in the past 6 months, I would say, I'm realizing that if I talk out loud to God, things actually shift. And it was always this, "Oh, I'll just think it, and they should know what I'm thinking because that's what a higher power is. It's just omnipresent." But it's kinda like a child talking to a parent. I don't know my kids' feelings and emotions unless they express them
Ooh,
with their words. And so I've
yeah.
really had this shift around that spirituality. So I love to hear that you did have those moments where you're, like, clutching on for dear life, saying it out loud.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, and sometimes I'll be in the car and I'll just be like, "Oh, God, help me." Just all by the way, all my problems now are nothing compared to what they were,
Yeah.
but, like, so what happens now? What do I freak out about now? I'll get nervous sometimes. Ooh, I get nervous to talk in front of people. Wow, that's a big problem. Like, chill, dude. You know,
Yeah, and,
like,
like, this is the opportunity I'm getting, like, I get to, and it's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and then I also this was pretty cool. So, I'm working on that show Ghost right now, and I play a stoner, which that's really funny because
That's
I don't even
amazing. I
I'm,
love
like,
that.
sober, and it's, like, such a why I gotta, like, get back in the stoner mode. It's so funny. But I got that because, while I was in rehab, they reached out to me, Ghost. It was like, "Hey, we wanna book you on this part," and I wanted to take it, but I had to say no because I knew this was the only time that I could I knew I had this brief opportunity where I could change my life and I could stop drinking and stop drugging and just get it was just a brief moment. I knew if I got out of rehab and was like, "I'm gonna go take this show," it it wasn't gonna work out, you know, something bad was gonna happen, or maybe something bad wouldn't happen, but I wanted that was my first, like, having to put sobriety first, you know? And I'm glad that it was a big thing because you have to put for me, I gotta put sobriety first, like, every day, you know? I gotta do my there's nothing that I can put ahead of it because I'll lose that, you know what I'm saying? And I really believe that. It's like, I gotta this thing has to come first. But anyway, that whole ghost thing was, it was a smaller part that they were offering me, and they came back 3 years later and offered me a bigger part. So, that was cool, you know? It just shows, like, you I didn't know that was gonna happen at the time, but I would've taken that smaller part, I would've been on for 1 episode, now I'm on for, like, I don't know, I think I've done, like, 10 now so far, so it's cool.
Dude, oh, I have goosebumps because it's so true, and what I call those is God shots. It's like where God's working in your
Yeah.
life, and you can see it now so clearly. I just was watching something the other day about how Jennifer Aniston said no to an SNL reoccurring spot, and not like a week or 2 later, she got the offer for Friends. And it's
Oh,
like,
wow.
that's exactly what you're talking about. It's like, can you even imagine if Friends happened and she wasn't on it? And all
Yeah.
for like, most people would say that SNL part was probably the biggest thing that was gonna hit, this comedic career, and it just
Yeah.
worked out in her favor, and it was for random reasons, but it's like, I love that. I love that you were gonna get a smaller part in maybe one episode, and now it's turned into you're a character on the show. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, you never know how things are gonna work out.
How did your relationship with comedy change? What did that really start to look like as you're doing more, stand-ups, and I love that you're saying you're getting roles.
It was definitely nerve-wracking, first getting out there 'cause you're just this ball of nerves, and now I gotta go in front of a crowd, you know? It was kinda like having to relearn it, like, when I first got off my first shows, I remember I had this gig in San Diego, and I had to do, like an hour of material, and I was just, like, freaking out, and it really made me look at my stand-up more, because before I would just drink and it would like, "Oh, it'll be alright," I'll just it'll come to me, and I really had to, work on my material and work on knowing what I was gonna do. I had to prepare a lot more, and I still have to prepare a lot more, and, it was one of those things where it's like you just gotta relearn it, kinda. You gotta relearn everything. I remember I had to relearn just how to talk to people, how to just talk, have a conversation. And that's something I still struggle with is just I get anxiety talking to people. I don't know what to say a lot, but it's something that everyone goes through, you know? Sometimes you have those people that are just good at that. I'm not one of those guys that I'm not that great at it, you know? I had to kinda relearn it, you know? Um, and stand up was just like, first off, you're also I knew I had to have a really good recovery program because I'm gonna be around drinking forever, that's just this life. And, people say like, "Well, how can you be in comedy clubs where people are drinking and doing stuff, or in the green room, they're doing this?" And I'm like, "Well, the way I see it is there's a liquor store like, right over there. There's a grocery store I can just go get some booze at, you know? I'm not one of those guys who's like, "Hey, don't I can't see that, man," you know? I I just have to have a good alcoholic program. Just know I'm an alcoholic, and that's just not an option, you know? For some people, it is an option, and that's cool. But for me, it's just not an option. I can't do it, you know?
Well, and I love
And
to hear how ingrained you are in not only step work, but being of service. That's for me, the biggest one that keeps me sober is I think about someone's face in the empty glass, or if someone's drinking in front of me, I think about a sponsee that I need to meet with the next day. It's really like you can tell from your program that you're so in it that that is what helps you in those moments.
yeah, it really is. Because also, you just see I'm one of those guys too, you'll get drunk hecklers at shows. You see so many drunk people getting kicked out, and you just look at it and you're kinda like, "Oh, that was me." I'm not one of those guys who if I'll give them, like, a ton of shit. I won't do that because I 'cause I'll be like, "Alright, I was that guy for sure," you know? I definitely
Comedy
interrupt.
clubs were my favorite place to drink. I'd be like, 2 drink minimum. What do you
Oh,
mean?
yeah,
Like, that's not a
yeah.
problem. Well, your maximum cutoff is what pisses me off. Comedy clubs will have you can have no more than 3 to 4 drinks. I used to get so mad.
Yeah, there's a few that do that, and that would piss me off too if I had to if there was a drink maximum. I hated getting cut off. I'm like, "No, no, why?"
Do you know me? Do you know how much I can drink? Like, I can handle it better than that guy, so
Yeah, yeah.
totally. Okay, so what is one thing people misunderstand about comedians, especially when it comes to alcohol, I would say? Like, I don't know, for me, I used to look at it like all comedians must have to drink because like you said, it probably makes their jokes maybe more funny or not. Like, what is just one thing people misunderstand about comics?
Um, I mean, I think just people are people, like, there's comedy, but there's also accountants who are drunk. There's friggin' gas station employees who are alcoholics, you know? I think one thing about the job of comedy is you do put yourself out there. You do get into these situations that, are nerve-wracking. I'm gonna go up in front of these people and tell jokes and try to make them laugh. That can get nerve-wracking. And then you could even get into it more like, "Why am I making these people laugh? Oh, I want this piece of me that I feel like I don't have. I want approval. I want this," you know? And, for me, I just try to take the motivation now is like, it's not about me. It's about like, I got a job. These people spent their money to come to the show. I need to do the best possible job I can. I need to do it for them. It's not for me. It's for them. And then that kind of takes the pressure off of me.
Totally. It's almost like you're being of service in comedy, which is what I love about your role as a comic. When I first got sober, comedy clubs were one of the things that I loved to do because it was like for 2 hours, I can be in the dark. No one's looking at what I'm drinking. If I have to have a mocktail or even nothing at all, if I'm having water, no one's judging me because everyone's looking at the stage. And I would leave comedy clubs and I'd actually remember the jokes like, I would be able to be like, "Dude, I went to the funniest comic last night, and this was a joke they told." When I was drinking, I couldn't remember the punchline. I was, like, just focused
Same. When
on
I was drinking, I couldn't remember the punchline, and that got me in trouble a lot.
Totally, totally, I love that. Okay, so I also like to talk about emotional sobriety on this show. Is there anything, just with emotional sobriety, has it influenced your creative process at all? Those moments of, we are more aware of our emotions because we don't drink. Has it come into
Yeah.
your jokes or anything like that?
Well, I do I talk about sobriety on stage, and I talk about my sobriety. I try to have fun with it, because it's part of my life, and there's some funny things about it, you know? Definitely in the beginning, I wasn't feeling that that funny toward it, but you also have these things in, recovery that are these sober comedy shows, and I've gotten to do those, and those are really cool, because you're just hanging out with the sober people, and it's like we all kinda know that thing. We don't know each other, but we know each other. We all got this thing, and it's like it's just beautiful. I love it. I love making people laugh. I love when people have joy, and I think it might come back from, like, living in a chaotic home. I just liked everyone to get along and to laugh and have fun, and, yeah, I like it, I like it now. I like the reasons I do it for now.
My favorite quote is, "Your greatest work is offering to the world what you wish was offered to you in your moment of greatest pain." And it's like,
Oh, that's
that's
cool.
that's what you're doing. What are you gonna say?
Um, I'm just like, I don't talk about sobriety like, I don't we don't talk about it this deep a lot, so it's like just I don't know, it's just a really cool thing. It's beautiful.
It is so
Before I
beautiful. What's your relationship like with Jay Moore today?
it's awesome, talk to him every day,
Cool.
I work yeah, I do what I need to do to stay sober, and that's like, being of service and going to my meetings and, being a good guy, and that's what I wanna be. That's what I've always wanted to be, just be a good guy.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so how do you stay grounded while touring or even moving around constantly? What are some tools or coping mechanisms that you now use because you don't pick up a drink?
Well, a gratitude list every day, that's something I do, and I also, I'll reach out to another alcoholic, reach out to a new alcoholic, and when I'm on the road, I'll have, like I can do Zoom meetings, but I like to go out and actually go to where the recovery meetings are there. Like, it is cool because I tour a lot, so I'm able to go to, like, friggin' I don't know, just these places. Hawaii was awesome, I went to a meeting out there, and, then I'll go to, like, Chicago and go to a meeting there, and you just find these friends from all over the country that, like I said before, it's like you know each other, but you don't know each other, but you do know each other, like and yeah, I just, I don't, I do my I wake up in the morning, I pray, I do meditation more. Meditation is one of those things that I'm, like, kinda on and off with. Luckily, I'm on right now pretty good. But yeah, it's just one of those things that you just gotta maintain. It's like taking a medication, medicine. That's my medicine that I need to take, or else I'm gonna start feeling a little weird, like emotional sobriety. Because alcohol is just something that is a byproduct of whatever's going on, Like alcoholism could be any ism. It's just the ism, you know? For me, alcohol is what I use. Sometimes I'll see it coming up in other ways, like I'll eat a whole Pizza Hut pizza by myself, and I'm like, "Shit doesn't have the consequences as alcohol would, the immediate ones," but
Yeah.
I still know, like, "Alright, what's going on with me here? Why am I doing this?"
Yeah, and you get to, like, look at it in every facet. I always say, it could be sex, it could be social media, it could be all the isms, like you're saying. I think we all as humans have addictive tendencies, and just because alcohol might not be the thing, that's why a lot of people will listen to this show, because it's just about not needing to get to the bottom of your bottom in whatever your ism is. You can really choose to get sober from that thing. Or like we talked about, even food is a huge one, which I always
Mhm.
talk about, I'll get a little addictions here and there. Right now it's caffeine. I think I'm overusing coffee and then I have to address it using the 12 steps. I'm like,
God, yeah,
why
I'm
am
like
I using this?
yeah, coffee's a big one for me too.
I
I'm
think
already
all
thinking I haven't
alcoholics.
had one this morning. I'm like, "Oh, I gotta get one."
Well, that's probably you guys didn't hear it because it's gonna get cut, but he literally said he has to go to urgent care after this because he's feeling so ill, but really it could just be you haven't had a cup of coffee.
That is possible, yeah. I
I'd
love it.
try
Oh
that
my god, I
first.
get that 7-Eleven coffee.
Oh my god, yeah.
I get my fiancé the good Starbucks kind, but I get that nasty 7-Eleven.
I love
7-Eleven,
that.
$2.
Yeah, which we haven't even talked about. So go check out Dustin's jokes. He's on Instagram and all of that. We'll talk about your links later, but tell us about your relationships in sobriety. How have they really grown or thrived, especially wink wink nudge nudge the fiance you just mentioned because I got to kind of see
Yeah.
the progress there and you proposing. But how have your relationships changed because you're sober now?
God, it's like a 180, like, every relationship is great. I have, like, no enemies, and that's the thing. Before sobriety even, before I started drinking, I wasn't a guy who wanted enemies, or I didn't hate people. Always wanted I don't know what it comes from, but I've always wanted everyone to just get along type of thing. And, through my drinking, I made people that didn't like me. I was definitely an asshole to some people. Um, I would towards the end, my family, I had some family members that were not a fan, and, they never stopped loving me, but I had friends that would just cut me out of their lives, and I got it. Uh, but then, as the years go by and for me, they saw that, whoa, something's changed. And I got those people back, I got friends back. I have an amazing relationship with my fiance, who I love her so much, and she's been with me, and she's the love of my life, and the gratitude I have for her, the gratitude I have for my friends, this was on my gratitude list. It's almost there every day is like, I'm so grateful for the people that love me, and I love them. Like, there was, this is a big one. My mom, she's always a drinker, and, it led to some not great moments, really tough moments in life. And when I quit drinking, uh, and I had some time, she stopped drinking. And it was just an amazing, like, wow, this is awesome. Your life gets better, everyone around you's life gets better. It's really cool.
Without having to point the finger, I always say it's this attraction, not promotion. By you becoming lighter, more yourself, more in tune, then it
Mhm.
literally has that ripple effect where it starts people want what you have and they're noticing and then they want to be better. And it really starts with you.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't control other people. That's a huge thing. It's like you can't control how the world's gonna be. all I can control is Dustin, you know?
Absolutely. Now, did you know your fiancée before sobriety or did you meet her in
Yeah,
sobriety?
yeah, definitely, and she's seen the worst of me, oh my god, you know?
Ugh.
And, just the people in our lives, they just worry about us. They're wondering if you're gonna die, or they don't wanna go out with you because they don't wanna get embarrassed. Like, it's not cool, you know? And I
Yeah.
see it. Dude, that's like it's out there. This is people's lives that are like they deal with this stuff, and I don't know, it's tough to
Yeah,
see.
totally. That's amazing that she stayed with you and that you, I'm sure, made an amends, but how beautiful your proposal
Mhm.
was during sobriety. Like that's, some like just a gift of being sober. All right. So what are you excited about coming up creatively or personally? Is there anything coming up for you that you're super stoked about that you know is
Um,
because of your sobriety?
I just got passed to the Comedy Store, which is cool. It's this big comedy club, legendary, and, they're gonna put my name on the wall, and that's cool,
It's
and
amazing. And I saw the post on social about it, but congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, that's pretty cool, and, I've been able to work on projects that I really like, just I finished a movie, which was cool. I actually wrote a movie. That's something would have never happened in my drinking. I would have had a lot of ideas on cocktail napkins, but I actually, like, got it done, and then
Can you say the name so people can go find it when it's out, or is it not public yet?
yeah, I don't even know what name it's gonna like, I'm going
Okay.
through, like, a few different names, but who knows if it'll even
Amazing.
get done, but who knows if it'll get made, but I completed it, so that was cool.
That's phenomenal, and even just yeah, sure, not drinking, but how about how many hungover days we spent being bags of shit who did nothing? It's like, I
God,
didn't even have to
yeah,
ingest alcohol for it to be affecting me the next day in every single thing I did. I have a hard time today sitting on the couch for long periods of time because it reminds me of when I just used to be a bag of shit and spend full days recovering, like you said, from other substances. It was
yeah.
just the hangovers were brutal and kept me back from so much creativity.
Oh my god, I would lay in bed for 3 days straight. 3 days straight. Out of some of it was the hangover, the hangxiety, as they say, just like, yeah, I would just stay in bed. Don't do that
Ugh.
anymore, and yeah, I'm like that too whenever I feel like, I'll have days where I'm like, "I didn't really do anything," and I don't like it because it does remind me of days where I literally did nothing, and so
I
I'm
had to
like, "Okay,
work
I
on
gotta
this,
do
like, in
something."
sobriety, I had to literally call my sponsor and say, "I don't know why I can't chill out. I'm having, like I just wanna go do the next thing and the next thing and check this off of my to-do list," and she was like, "You just need to sit and, like, be okay with just watching a movie in the middle of a Sunday afternoon," and I didn't realize why until I did some work around it. I started journaling, using the tools of the program, like, writing things down, and I was like, "Oh my god, this stems all back to these full-blown, like you said, days in a row, plural,
Yeah.
and it was just I'm so grateful to now get to take the pause and the rest, but to still be able to say, "I can do it in a much shorter time span." It doesn't take me all day to
Mhm.
recover, even, like,
Yeah, yeah,
being sick.
totally.
Yeah. Okay, so we always end with some rapid fire questions. I'm gonna ask you a couple things, and you can answer in a sentence or multiple, it doesn't matter, but alright, so what is a joke that you wrote that surprised even you?
A joke that I wrote that surprised even me?
Yeah.
Dang, I don't know. I write some okay, I try to keep it clean, but I'll have, like, some really dirty things that come to me sometimes, and I've been doing them lately on stage, and I don't even wanna say it on here because it's so filthy, but it kills, and it's so out of, like, my character.
I love it.
Yeah, I'll have surprising jokes pop up.
Okay. I love that, and you gotta go see him live to find those out, like you said, Comedy
Yeah.
Store, right?
Yeah.
Alright, what is your favorite go-to sober food or treat? What is the thing you, like, grab for that satiates you?
I would say Oreos and milk, cookies and milk. I
Yeah.
picked
Oh,
that little trick up in rehab. They had these little Oreos and milk, and I was just like, "Oh, this is my thing now."
it's so comforting. Again, I had Kristen on, a fellow comedian, but she was like, "Oh, during my 4th step, I was told to just, like, pick a treat and go with it." She's like, "I couldn't stop eating Snickers." And so it's so
Oh,
funny.
Snickers are pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, but it's so funny how
Mine's definitely Oreos and milk. Yep.
yeah, and it's like that comforting thing that takes you back. I used to say it was orange soda because I used to get one with a Happy Meal when I was little, and so I used to get this nostalgic feeling of, like, if I could have an orange soda from McDonald's, I would just feel at peace. Now I don't
Yeah.
drink shit like that, but it's so funny,
Yeah.
what comes up. All right. What is something you are really proud of that no one really gets to see? Maybe something you're doing behind the scenes.
Probably that, like, answering phones at central office, you know? I don't really tell a lot of people. It's just like, I don't know, it feels cool. It feels like Batman, you know? Like
Dude,
like,
it's
I'm gonna
so true.
go yeah, I'll go to my comedy shows after, like, a shift at central office answering phones for alcoholics, and then, like, I'll just show up and, "How was your day?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was pretty good," you know?
That's so cool. Yeah, like Clark Kent, and you've got the glasses on or not the glasses,
Yeah,
and you're just,
yeah.
like, undercover. I love it. Okay, so this is my favorite question to end with. There's a trend on social media. It's called "If I Could Have Coffee with My Younger Self." So if you could go back in time and talk to Dustin as his younger self, what is one thing that you would tell him?
Um, chill out, dude. Calm down, okay? Just, like, I don't know, probably don't drink, you know, I wouldn't start doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh
Don't
my
freak out,
gosh.
man. Don't
Yeah.
freak out too much, and if you do
Mm.
freak out, it's okay.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, Dustin, thank you so much for being here. Even while sick, I'm so impressed that you still showed up. And thank you for
Course.
just sharing with us your heart and soul behind. I can tell every single thing that you do. So, for our listeners, I just want to say, just remember, you don't have to hit rock bottom to stay sober. And you can even have multiple rock bottoms like Dustin and
Yeah.
still get sober anytime. So, hopefully, this episode helped you today. Please feel free to share it. Dustin, tell us your links. Where can people find you?
Just my name, Dustin Ybarra. I do a lot of TikTok lives, so add me on there, Instagram, YouTube, Dustin Ybarra.
And Ybarra is spelled Ybarra. All right. Thank you for being here today. And I'll stick those links in the show notes as well for those of you that need them. Cheers till next time.